Okay, let's dive right in because this is huge. Love is Blind, Season 9, the Denver season. It's made history, but not in a good way.
Not at all.
It ended with something absolutely staggering for the franchise. 0 couples actually said, I do. 0.
That's right. For the first time ever, not a single marriage came out of it. It's the total collapse of the experiment in one city.
Welcome to Starscope Report. I'm your host.
And I'm our analyst.
And we're here to break down the biggest stories shaking up pop culture, Hollywood, music, influencers, you name it.
Today, though, we're focusing squarely on this Love is Blind situation. We've gone through, well, a lot of source material. Think market analysis, cast interviews, psychological takes.
Right.
Our mission today, to really understand why this 0 wedding season happened. Why did every single engagement just fizzle out?
It wasn't just bad luck, was it? The sources suggest deeper issues.
Definitely. We're talking major clashes over money, big questions about emotional maturity, and just fundamental real-world problems that, love couldn't magically fix.
And we've got some shocking details coming up from those sources. We need to talk about the whole party lifestyle clash, the strip club thing.
Oh, yeah.
And the guy who had a full-on breakdown over intimacy issues.
That was something.
Plus, the big twist. One woman ended her engagement because she wasn't sure about being a stepmom. Yeah. Right. Well, wait till you hear the update on that.
It's quite the reveal.
Okay, let's get into the specifics of this historic failure in Denver.
Let's do it.
So the numbers alone are pretty stark. They started with 6 engaged couples out of the pods.
Standard enough start.
But only 3 even lasted until the final week. And then only 2 couples actually made it to the altar for that vow or never finale.
Ali and Anton and Kalybriah and Edmund.
And both times. Tears and a no. A 0% success rate. That just shatters the show's average, doesn't it?
Completely. And what's really fascinating when you dig into the analysis is this shift in power.
Yeah.
In all 3 of those final couples, Ali Anton, KB Edmund, and Megan Jordan, the sources consistently show the men were ready. They were saying yes or would have.
Right. Anton said yes. Jordan seemed ready before the split.
Exactly. It was the women, in each case, who pulled the plug. They looked at the reality, the instability, and chose not to marry, even with that pod connection. It kind of flips the usual reality TV script.
So the big question everyone's asking, why Denver? Why this cast? Did they just expose the fundamental cracks in the whole Love is Blind idea?
Well, was it just fame-seeking? Maybe partly. That's always a factor.
Sure.
But the analysis really points towards the inescapable stuff. Money, maturity, lifestyle logistics, those things the show wants you to ignore. They just prove too powerful this time.
Did the Denver setting itself play a role? Some sources mention that.
Yeah, that's a key point. Denver isn't maybe like Atlanta or LA in terms of that high glamour focus. The cast seemed more, working class, facing serious cost of living pressures. So financial stuff, which is always under the surface in this show, became way more explicit, more volatile. The sources really drive home that practical compatibility, especially under economic stress, just bulldoze the emotional connection.
All right, let's break down the couples. Case study 1, Ali Lima and Anton Yarosh, the financial conflict couple.
Right. They started off looking like the ideal pair, First engagement, bonded over similar backgrounds, immigrant kids, divorced parents.
Anton seemed completely head over coals, called her stunning right away. So where did the cracks appear?
Almost immediately. The sources call it conflicting financial planning philosophies, which is a nice way of putting it.
Well, yeah.
Ali was very clear about needing financial security and maintaining a certain lifestyle. She brought up things like wanting a ring that felt substantial, suggesting $10,000 as a baseline.
Wow, okay. Specific.
Very.
Huh?
And she planned to go back to school full-time, hoping Anton's income, as a trucker, could support her lifestyle, including things like Botox.
That's a lot of expectation up front. But it wasn't just future finances, right? His current lifestyle was an issue, too.
Huge issue. Her friends called him a party animal. Ali herself noted, 2 12-packs of beer and a bottle of tequila vanishing quickly from their place.
Yikes.
And then the big one, finding out he'd been going to strip clubs regularly just months before filming. That's a massive trust barrier.
Yeah, absolutely. So how does this tie back to the socioeconomic thing, the partying versus the money?
Well, the analysis suggests the partying became a symbol for the lack of stability she needed. Remember her friends asking if he'd be just a trucker forever?
Right, that was harsh but telling.
It highlights the core anxiety. Could his current life and career path actually support the future she envisioned, especially in an expensive city like Denver? Was it compatible?
So at the altar, Anton says, I do. But Allie says no. Her reason.
She said, quote, "The person that I fell in love with in the pods isn't the person I've gotten to experience in real life."
But wait, she knew he was a trucker in the pods. Why make it about the career viability at the very last second?
That's the experiment's blind spot, isn't it? The sources suggest she focused on his potential in the pods, maybe ignored the practical signs.
Okay.
Seeing his actual life, the spending habits, the lifestyle, it all pointed to this basic incompatibility. She realized their worlds just wouldn't mesh financially and culturally. His readiness to marry couldn't fix that fundamental gap.
Makes sense. Okay, let's move to case study 2. Kalybriah, Haskin, KB, and Edmund, Harvey. The maturity issue.
Yes, the maturity deficit. Initially, their bond seemed so deep.
Very vulnerable, right? Edmund opened up about his tough childhood in foster care, and KB, being a social worker, really connected with that. People praised her emotional intelligence.
Exactly. But that vulnerability outside the pods shifted the dynamic. KB almost immediately fell into a caretaker role.
And the turning point was Mexico.
Definitely Mexico. Edmund had that very public, tearful breakdown because they hadn't been intimate yet, unlike other couples.
That moment felt uncomfortable. The sources were pretty critical, weren't they? Calling it manipulative.
They didn't mince words. The analysis focused on his, let's say, emotional regulation issues and using tears as a form of manipulative dependency. It wasn't seen as healthy vulnerability.
More like neediness putting pressure on her.
Precisely. And this wasn't just Edmund, remember? Joe Ferrucci also tapped out early.
Oh, right. Joe and Madison. Intense connection. But he realized it was all based on their pod selves.
Exactly. He recognized it wouldn't survive the real world.
Yeah.
The sources use both Edmund and Joe to show how the show rewards performing vulnerability, telling a compelling story over actual, stable, emotional maturity.
KB figured that out.
It seems so, even with the emotional weight of the wedding day, like his 5th grade teacher walking him down the aisle because his mom wasn't there. Very moving stuff.
Yeah.
But KB couldn't shake the feeling she was essentially signing up to parent him, not partner him.
So her rejection was gentle but firm. She wasn't 100% ready.
Right. She told him, "You deserve someone who is 100% at the altar." Which is, a kind way of saying, this isn't it.
She saw that the vulnerability that drew her in had become a burden in reality.
That's the core analysis. Vulnerability is vital for love, sure, but it's no replacement for the maturity needed to actually build a stable life together. She made the tough but rational call.
Okay, third and final couple before the big reveal. Megan and Jordan. The logistical chasm.
Textbook case. You had Megan, Sparkle Megan, the entrepreneur, used to dating older, maybe wealthier guys.
And Jordan, working class service manager, tattooed, single dad to Luca. Megan specifically said she wanted to break the mold with him.
And the mold broke them, really. The sources hammer at this point. Their lifestyles were just fundamentally incompatible.
How so?
Megan thrived on spontaneity, travel, adventure, the freedom of her own business. Jordan had a strict 9-to-5, plus the huge, unwavering responsibilities of being a single dad. Their daily realities just couldn't align.
Jordan seemed very aware of the money aspect too, right? He basically said it himself.
He was incredibly blunt about it. The quote that pops up everywhere is him saying something like, "If I had enough money that I didn't really have to work, I think we would be getting married."
Wow. Yeah, it says it all.
It really does. It underlines that the failure wasn't necessarily a lack of feeling, but a collision with practical barriers, money, time, parenting, the exact things the experiment asks you to ignore until it's often too late.
And the parenting part became the major pressure point for Megan.
Absolutely. That bachelorette party scene where she broke down crying, questioning if she was cut out to be a mom at all.
Realizing it wasn't abstract parenthood, it was instant stepmotherhood to Luca, with all the lifestyle changes that meant.
It was overwhelming. So unlike the others, they didn't even make it to the altar. They had a quiet breakup beforehand.
They can call them ships in the night, right?
Perfect description. And Jordan later said his biggest regret was introducing Luca to Megan. That just highlights the real-world consequences when the experiment fails. The connection was there, maybe, but the logistics made marriage impossible.
Okay, so summarizing the failures across these 3 cases.
3 big themes emerge from all the analysis. 1, socioeconomics are primary. Money, career, cost of living, it doomed Allie and Anton and was central to Megan Jordan's split.
Got it.
2, the maturity deficit. Performative vulnerability, like with Edmund or Joe, just doesn't cut it for real commitment. You need actual emotional stability.
Right.
And 3, the pod self versus the real self. Too many participants weren't fully transparent about their actual lifestyles, leading to shock and incompatibility later.
So the reunion is coming up October 29th. Sounds like it'll be more of a post-mortem than a celebration.
Definitely damage control and analysis, not popping champagne.
But the biggest shocker might have already come out concerning Megan Walarius and her surprise about motherhood.
Yes. This is the twist that really reframes everything. The sources confirm it.
Tell us.
Megan, who ended things with Jordan, partly over her very real doubts about being ready for stepmotherhood right then, well, she has since welcomed a baby.
Get out with a new partner.
With a new partner after filming ended.
Whoa. Okay, so that changes the narrative entirely.
It really does. It suggests her hesitation wasn't about motherhood itself or some deep fear of commitment. It was about the specific circumstances with Jordan.
The financial constraints, the lifestyle mismatch, the timeline.
Exactly. It was about the incompatibility of that specific situation created by the show's constraints. She might have failed the experiment's timeline, but she wasn't necessarily failing at being ready for family, just on different terms.
That shows the experiment's limitations. Maybe more than any personal failing on her part.
That's the key takeaway. Her story demonstrates that rejecting the show's premise doesn't mean rejecting love or family altogether. It just means rejecting those particular, high-pressure, often unrealistic conditions.
So after all this, after a season with 0 successes, what's the final thought?
Well, it forces a really tough question, doesn't it? If the things that reliably break relationships in the real world, money stress, maturity gaps, lifestyle clashes, are the very things the show asks people to ignore.
Is the experiment itself fundamentally flawed?
Is Love is Blind built on a premise that this season proved just doesn't hold up, especially when real world pressures like economics are high? Is Love actually blind to these things? Denver suggests. Maybe not.
A provocative thought to end on. You've been listening to Starscope Report, where Jordan and Jamie uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time.